Hello, race fans, and welcome to another edition of Before the Green Flag on GMSRacing.net. And guys, coming back from Canada with the Truck Series, what is your big takeaway from the only road course we've ran this year?
Customs has not gotten any more fun. No, I mean I think it was a decent weekend. Obviously, not what everybody was hoping for, but it went well. Spencer did a really good job, and I definitely think him getting to run the Canadian Tire Series race, at the same time, was a huge help. I mean, he did a really good job dealing with the extra work, the running around like crazy on Saturday, because I think I saw him sitting down, obviously outside of the race car for I think 5 minutes maybe total. So he did a great job with that. I definitely think it helped him in the truck race. His rhythm was really good, and Brandon was good too. Brandon qualified really well. He was really able to put some fast laps together, and it sounds like they just ran into some mechanical problems is what it sounded like, and ended his day a little bit early, but did a good job overall, I felt like.
Yeah, coolest part for me watching this weekend was Spencer's progression off the truck from that first practice all the way through the whole race, and then into those last couple of restarts holding his position there. He did, to me, just watching, that was one of, if not the smartest race that he's ever driven.
Yeah.
Just because, like you said, getting laps in the Canadian Tire Series car, that was huge. I think, to show up to a racetrack when you've never been there before, you've never done this type of racing before in a truck, and you're racing against a whole field of guys that have been there for 2 years running. Getting those extra 45, 50 laps in that CAS car race, Canadian Tire race, was
Huge help.
Was huge. And not only that, but to see, he actually got quicker with laps on the tires throughout that whole race. So, you go into that truck race with a whole race under your belt now, and you know the racetrack, you know where your braking points are, you know where the best places to pass are. So that was really fun. But Brandon, he was so fast in practice. He was leading practice for a while. Got into that last round of qualifying. So to see him with a little mechanical failure was really disappointing for those guys. So hopefully they can bounce back in 2 weeks.
And now to shift from the trucks to ARCA. ARCA team's back in action at DuQuoin this weekend at the mile dirt track. So you've got 2 dirt tracks back to back. So for these ARCA guys, is there a challenge of, going from struggling last week with the last race to now trying to bounce back at another dirt track, which is a curveball for the series?
I feel like we should play taps for the last dirt race of the
year. It's disappointing for you, I know.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. But yeah, DuQuoin's cool. It's geometrically, I guess it's a little bit different than Springfield. Straightaways are a little bit shorter corners are a little bit tighter on exit, and it's a little bit different dirt too.
Yeah, it's weird. They're the same but different. You look at them from the air and you almost can't tell the difference, but then you get on them with the car and you're like, wow, they couldn't be any more different. The dirt's definitely a big part of that. DuQuoin, for whatever reason, tends to actually rubber up more. Springfield gets black and starts to take rubber, but DuQuoin, you can walk on that place after the race and it feels like you're walking around on a rubber mat. The dirt's completely different. Pit road is kind of cool. It's pit road, which is
one lane.
Yeah, one lane. People would think it'd be a little bit less sketchy than Springfield, but really not. There's just as much excitement there as there is on the track. But as far as those guys bouncing back, at Springfield, it wasn't like the car wasn't fast. It wasn't like, Grant was off his game or something crazy like that. They just had an electrical issue that it went all the way through practice. Qualifying got rained out, but the car had a ton of speed, and then they had that electrical fluke that really made it a rough day for them. So I don't think DuQuoin is going to be any different than it has any other weekend for those guys. The cars are going to be fast. Grant's going to be on his game, and hopefully he'll get most of that point lead back.
Yeah, stuff happens in racing.
Yeah,
motors blow, wrecks happen. Every now and again you're going to have some sort of mechanical failure. It happens, but we've talked all year. The one thing that these guys have had every single week is speed. It doesn't matter where they're at, how long the race. These guys are always quick. So, we saw this last year at DuQuoin. Grant led a ton of laps, 60 some laps. Won won that race at DuQuoin in only his second start. So, we've in the last 6 races at DuQuoin, we've had 6 different winners. So, there was, back in the 80s and 90s, this was one of those places where if a guy got a hold of it, he was dominant. So,
Yeah.
This race has kind of become a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes we'll have some green, white checkers. The next year we'll go back and it's, lean, mean, and green. So, to go back from 2 weeks ago with how fast those guys were at Springfield, going back with a pretty similar package, I think those guys are going to be pretty tough.
And Josh, me and you were able to catch up with Grant and get his thoughts of what's it going to take to go back to DuQuoin and to kind of find repeat success as he did last year.
A true dirt guy will tell you there's quite a few differences. DuQuoin has a little longer straightaways, I guess, and all. To me, not being a true dirt guy, they're about the same. Both of them are 1 mile flat horse tracks, basically, which pretty much need to be on the bottom. You can maybe wash up a little bit more at DuQuoin than you can at Springfield and get a little bit of a straighter shot on exit. But really, I'm going into it with about the same mindset we had at Springfield, and hopefully we got just as good a car. We had a really good, consistent car from the short runs and the long runs, which I feel like we had a lot of that at Springfield last week as well. Just had some unfortunate incidences there, kind of plagued us at that race. But really, like I said, we're going with the same mindset here at DuQuoin. So hopefully the race plays out similar. Sometimes the track will break up and get really slick, and other times that it stays rubbered up. So that's something we're going to have to give it our best guess when we get there.
So it's shaping up to be a great Labor Day weekend with the ARCA Series heading to DuQuoin Fairgrounds on Monday at 1:30. It's not going to be on TV, so be sure to check it out on us on GMS Racing LLC, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. We'll keep you updated with all the action going on the 1 mile dirt track. And guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.